Good morning, everybody. For those that don't know me, my name is Nigel Farage, leader of Reform. I'm joined on my right, Alexander Jones, our mayoral candidate in the room. We have many of our candidates and supporters who are out there doing great things. And our surprise for the day is John Ryan on my left, former owner of Doncaster Rovers Football Club. And actually, you're in the Guinness Book of Records. John is, other than doing great things with Doncaster Rovers and being somebody from this city, he's actually in the Guinness Book of Records as is it the oldest man to play professional football?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
52 years old and he played a game of professional football. There you are. To begin, a couple of comments perhaps on the national scene. Firstly, big political change is coming to the north of England. It is happening. And it's certainly happening here in Doncaster, where the political map is going to be completely reshaped on May the 1st. And boy, do the Labour Party not know it. They know what's coming, and so they are resorting to some pretty low tactics. Labour senior figures, Wes Streeting was one, the Health Secretary, suggesting that if Reform take power, it's going to cost you 15 grand to get a hip replacement. All I would point everyone to is our contract with the people, which we published last year before the general election, which is still valid, in which we say we want an NHS as it was originally devised to be free at the point of delivery, but we are utterly convinced that it's failing in terms of its funding model. Indeed, the more money we put in, the less we seem to get out. And we want to look at how we can make a more efficient NHS. I'd also point out that one of the reasons you can't get a GP appointment is that in the course of the last 10 years, and wait for this number, 7.2 million people, foreign-born people, have registered with GPs. That is the scale of mass immigration into Britain and explains much of the pressure that has come. We're also getting the Russia conspiracy. Just because 12 or 13 years ago I said I respected Putin but didn't like him, suddenly you'd think I'm his right-hand man. It's all lies, 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 but when Labour lie, it means they're in trouble. But they're in trouble with something else too, and that's way before Trump tariffs, the state of the economy. The truth is, if it wasn't for huge borrowing, if it wasn't for massive increases in the population, we would be in recession already. And it's quite stunning to think that at the moment, a job is being lost every 9 minutes in this country. And it's happening mostly in retail and in hospitality, because frankly, the Reeves budget is just becoming unaffordable for too many employers, small and medium-sized in particular. The British car industry is in a desperate state. In 2024, we produced fewer cars than we had since 1954. And much of this is a result of Boris Johnson, Theresa May and other Conservative leaders putting electric vehicle mandates, and if manufacturers don't meet them, they get fined up to 20,000 a car if they don't meet their targets. So we've got a really serious, potentially terminal situation with our car industry. And frankly, when it comes to vans, commercial electric vans, they just don't work. So it's up to consumers what cars they want to buy, not governments, and we're learning that lesson. And Starmer, our Prime Minister, will give a speech in the West Midlands this afternoon in which he says the fines will be reduced from 20,000 to 15,000. Well, kind of so what? There'll be some exemptions for Aston Martin and one or two of the smaller manufacturers, and hybrids can go on to 2035. Frankly, he's doing no more than fiddling around the edges at a very, very major industry that's in big trouble. And the danger is, if we carry on down this route, frankly, China will simply sweep up the market. One more thing I want to say on the national stage. Richard Tice and I, for some years now, have been saying that because of the most ridiculous energy prices in the world, the highest commercial energy prices in the world, that manufacturing of steel in Britain was in terminal decline. We saw Port Talbot close not long ago. The situation in Scunthorpe, our last primary steel producer in the country is dire. And of course it was sold off to a Chinese company. We now understand that they have not made fresh orders of coking coal, and by early May those furnaces will close down and close down forever. We will be the only major nation in the world not to be producing primary steel at a time of the greatest global military uncertainty, frankly, in my lifetime. I will be going to Scunthorpe, to that plant, tomorrow afternoon to meet some of the bosses, to meet some of the trade unions, and I will there tomorrow announce a policy proposal from the party as to what we think should happen. And Richard Tice has an urgent question on this in the House of Commons today. We are the only party, and Richard Tice and I, the only political figures who consistently have said for the last few years that we are destroying British manufacturing. And we want to reindustrialise the country, because it seems to us, if we're going to use steel, let's manufacture it ourselves in this country with skilled, highly paid jobs. Enough of the national stage for now. Alexander, please give us an update on your mayoral campaign and what's going on.
Thanks, Nigel. It's absolutely wonderful to have John's support today. He has brought much joy to our city, and his entrepreneurial spirit is something that I want to champion in Doncaster. With John's support and the fantastic response I have seen and heard from residents since my nomination as candidate for mayor, this has been really, really humbling. Whilst I'm not a career politician, I have energy, drive and grit, all of which are required to better represent Doncaster. Doncaster deserves better, a mayor that does not have their own agenda, but a mayor that listens and acts in the best interest of Doncaster people. With John's support and all the Reform councillors standing, I know we have an excellent team of knowledgeable, determined people ready to work together to deliver real results. Today I'm sharing my 4-point plan, which lays the groundwork for what is needed for Doncaster residents. This is my contract with Doncaster. Manifestos are often overwritten. Many people do not have the time to read pages and pages of political word salad, which most people don't really believe anyway. Because who has ever known of any time when the Labour Party or the Conservative Party have delivered on their manifesto promises? I know I haven't.
Quite.
We at Reform offer a fresh way forward. Our 4-point plan is safe and secure town centre and communities, invest in Doncaster's future and Doncaster families, boost business, jobs and skills, and a faster, smarter, leaner council that listens and delivers results. With John, Nigel and our excellent local candidates, we can bring real reform to Doncaster, because Doncaster needs real reform. Thursday the 1st of May is the opportunity for all of us to vote for a new beginning, to bring in new ideas, new energy and a new team. Team Reform. Only by voting for reform can we achieve reform. Vote Reform.
Very good. Well, I think that Alexander represents the fresh-faced look of change. Youth, energy, and I have to say I'm very excited about your candidacy. And you talk about the need for leaner local government, a more efficient local government. Well, yeah. Given that Doncaster City Council's daily interest repayments are £48,000 a day, which is an almost mind-blowing figure, something needs to happen. Now, it is my very great pleasure to welcome on board John Ryan. John.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to say I'm a very proud Doncastrian, although I have not lived in the borough for many years. And the reason for that is first of all, I've watched from afar in Cheshire what's happened here in Doncaster. First I saw it with the football club that was destroyed in the 1990s, and I actually had to take it up 1998, and I hope one or two of you were there when the day at Wembley in 2008 we beat Leeds United in front of 80,000. Any Leeds fans, hard luck. And we brought Doncaster Rovers back onto the map, and that's been taken on by Terry Bramall now, and we look like getting another promotion this year. And that's great from the football perspective. But the sad thing for me, when we won the Johnson Paints Cup, we went on an open bus trip round Doncaster, and we went through the city centre, and it was a disgrace. Gambling shops, the odd pub, charity shops and closed down shops. When I grew up, and don't forget, just to let you know, both my grandfathers were coal miners at Bullcroft Colliery, and I was brought up in a little council house in Pallington Grove, Cantley, not far from here. So I wasn't born with a silver spoon. But what really upset me was I had to leave Doncaster. I founded 3 companies, 3 big companies, employed hundreds and hundreds of people. But I've not been able to do it here because we've had for decade after decade after decade Labour Council. And what have they done? When in the 1960s, if some of you can remember that far back, this was a thriving thoroughfare. I used to love coming into this town centre then. It was bustling. Look at the market. I used to love going around the market. What a fantastic, it's probably the best market in the north of England. Look at it now. Complete wilderness, along with the town centre. And that's decade after decade after decade of Labour rule in this city. It's wrong. And yet some people still vote for them. Talk about turkeys voting for Christmas. They don't think, do they? And I'm not saying the Tories are any better, but at least now there's another way. What I love about reform is, well, obviously, we've got a leader here, Nigel's charismatic. You've got to have somebody charismatic. Can you imagine? Nigel, Starmer. We are going to... Ed? How much is the electric going down? 300 quid, boss. Yeah, I know, you lying hound. More like going up. You know, on a national stage, I'm not a political person normally, but I'm so disgusted what's happened nationally, but also what's happened particularly in Doncaster, which is my first love. And with enthusiasm and real grit and determination, which Alexander extols, we brought Doncaster Rovers from the brink to success. And we can do the same for Doncaster Town or Doncaster City.
Great message.
But we have to get rid of the Labour lot. And it's no use voting Tory either, because if you vote Tory in Doncaster, you still get Labour. So for God's sake, get out there and get people to vote reform. They're sick of Labour. They're a gaggle of liars. Everything they do, lie, 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 lie. Proven liars. Proven liars.
Well, I think, John, we can take that as a fairly firm endorsement of reform. And I love that message. If you can do it with a football club, you can do it with the city. That's a very, very good, positive message, and I think one that all of our candidates can take out onto the doorstep. We're delighted to have a famous son of Doncaster, someone who's done so much for the city here, and you can tell the pride that is welling up inside John, and he wants to see it back. And only by turning around by 180 degrees, the management, the government, the attitude towards business and jobs, can this happen. And we are giving this a real go. We're going to surprise everybody. I tell you what, when they wake up on May the 2nd, they won't believe what has happened in Doncaster. Thank you, everybody. We'll now do one-on-ones with the media, and thank you for attending this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Boom, boom, boom.